Today on Dr. Phil, a wife's shocking accusation.
I believe Anthony put rubbing alcohol in my contact case.
She says you attempted to blind her.
Why would I try to blind my own wife?
I have no idea.
He tears her down emotionally.
You say dealing with me like I'm a burden.
I feel like you are a burden.
But is he blind to her pain?
Says you grab her by the neck, drag her by her hair.
That's not true.
Could you pass a polygraph?
I probably could, but I'm not going to take one.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
Wilson, take
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4,
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
go, Dr. Phil.
How are you? Hey, guys. How you doing? Thank you much. All right. I want you to imagine putting your contacts in one morning and you feel a painful burning sensation and then suddenly smell an unusual but familiar odor of rubbing alcohol. Ouch, right? Worse yet, what if your first thought was that your husband did it on purpose to make you blind? My first guest claims that's what happened to her just days ago, but her husband adamantly denies it. He says when he opened the medicine cabinet, the bottles were tipped and spilled, and for all he knows, it may have splashed near the case. I don't know, maybe something else is going on here. We'll just have to see besides solution splashing around. Well, Heather is here today to find out if I think she should stay with her husband or head for the hills. Take a look.
My husband Anthony gets angry, he screams, he punches things, he slammed me up against a wall, put me right up against the wall. He's put his hands around my throat like this. He's twisted my arm, he's thrown me on the ground, he's headbutted me, he's punched me in my leg.
One night, she threw my phone. So I grabbed her phone, I slammed her phone on the ground and just destroyed it. And then when I caught her talking on Facebook on her computer, smashed that too. Sure did, right away. Didn't even think twice. Snatched it up by the screen, it was done for.
I believe Anthony put rubbing alcohol in my contact case on purpose. I go to put my contact in my eye and it burned so bad that I instantly pulled it away, but my eye turned red, it got swollen, and I went down to my contact case and I smelled it and it was rubbing alcohol. Yeah. I started yelling, like, what in the world is in my contacts? What is this? And I said, you were crazy. Why would you do something like this?
And then we got into a whole big fight. All I know is, like, she told me I was crazy, got up, told her I'll show her crazy. I ripped the painting off the wall. I tore her clothes out of the closet.
Punched a hole in the wall.
Probably about that.
Size of his
fist
fist.
size.
He did eventually tell me he spilt rubbing alcohol and that maybe it could have gone in there, which is impossible. My contacts are in a sealed, closed case. My parents are afraid of me having my gun in the house because he might use it against me, but they also don't want to take it because they're afraid that there could be a time where I need it.
Well, Anthony says he would never abuse Heather or any other woman for that matter. Here's his point of view.
When I get mad with Heather, I walk away 3/4 of the time because the only thing I know how to do is get physical, break stuff, punch stuff, and I don't want to do that with her. I realize that's my wife. Never should you put your hands on a woman, regardless. But if you put me in a corner, I will come out swinging. She starts going, all right, now I'm throwing blows back. Not physically, but verbally. I'm gonna hurt your feelings so you will stop. I've called her a whore, a slut, I've called her a bitch, worthless. I tear her down emotionally. I feel like Heather does blow things out of proportion. Heather's called the police more than 5 times. That's what she likes to do. That's like her #1 go-to. If there's nothing else, it's 911. Oh, my husband's being an ass, or my husband's over here putting his hands on me. I've grabbed her before just to get her attention because I don't feel like she's listening. There's been an altercation where we got in a fight and I left, and when I came back to get close that night, she started right when I walked in the door. I had 2 of my friends with me just for witnesses, and we started arguing, and I got in her face and I started screaming at her and pointing, da-da-da-da-da, and she fainted. if you want to say that. It was kind of, like all my two friends were like, that was fake. Like they just called her. I was like, all right. I was like, as long as everybody knows I did not put my hands on her, that she just fake fell and hit her face on the ground. I was like, that's her own call. She did that.
Why do you want to be here? What's your question for me?
Whether or not it's fixable. I mean, I want to fix my marriage, and I do love Anthony, and I want to be with him, but a part of me thinks, am I wrong for wanting to stay with somebody who abuses me like this?
Mm-hmm. Does he abuse you?
He does.
Are you a danger to your wife?
Not at all.
Do you abuse her?
Not at all.
You don't abuse her?
I would never hurt my wife.
Is he lying, or does he have a lack of insight?
I feel like it's a little bit of both. I don't know if he plants in his head that he doesn't, and he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong, but he knows he's lying.
Okay, well, here are the accusations, just so you know. This is her perception. That you punch walls, doors, and that you have punched her in the legs.
I do punch doors and walls, but I've never hit her.
You've never hit her in the legs?
I've never hit her in the legs.
Okay.
Never any way to hurt her. If we've been joking around, like we play fight, we wrestle around, then yes, but I've never hit her.
Okay.
I have never put my hands on her to hurt her.
Well, I don't think she's talking about roughhousing, playing around, ha, ha, ha. Says you grab her by the neck, that you've dragged her by her hair.
That's not true at all.
Okay.
He's lying.
Now, one of you is lying to me, and I want that stopped right now. There's no sense in wasting my time, or your time. I can't fix a lie. What I got to have is the truth. Has he grabbed you by the neck?
He has grabbed me by the neck.
Has he
and
dragged you by the hair?
He did.
Where? Where did he grab you, and where did he drag you?
We were out front of our house getting out of the car, and he dragged me across the road by my hair. During that time, he slammed me down on the ground. I had scrapes and bruises all over my shoulder.
You're telling me that she is fabricating this entire thing?
That is exactly what I'm saying.
You did not grab her by the hair?
I have never grabbed her or drug her by her hair.
You didn't drag her across the road?
No.
All right. She says that you've thrown her against the wall, the floor, and the bed.
False.
Didn't happen. She says you bit her.
Oh, no.
She says you attempted to blind her with the alcohol solution in her contact container. Did you?
No. Why would I try to blind my own wife?
I have no idea. I'm not asking you why you would do it. I'm asking you if you did it.
No, I did not put rubbing alcohol in her contact case. Exactly what I said is what happened. Whenever I came back to the house to gather my things, when I went through the medicine cabinet, I was going through, I was knocking things out, things were falling down. Her contact cases were on the ground by the sink, right along with her contact solution. When that fell out, there could have been rubbing alcohol that fell out. Things spilt. Now, did I put rubbing alcohol inside of her contact case or in any type of her solution on purpose? I would never do that.
Okay. Do you put rubbing alcohol in the medicine cabinet without a lid on it?
No.
Do you put your contact container with or without your contacts there without closing them up?
I do not.
So we have a closed alcohol container falling on a closed contact container, and somehow or another it got inside. Was it inside?
It was inside the contact case.
It burned your eyes?
Yes.
Do you doubt that her eyes were burned?
When I got up, I went over to her contact case to smell it. When I smelled it, I didn't smell rubbing alcohol in it.
But he saw my eye. I showed him
She
my
came up
eye.
to me and showed me her eye. Her eye was red, yes. I'm not going to deny that her eye was red. It wasn't swollen. It was only red. And she's accusing me of dumping rubbing alcohol inside of her contact lenses. I'm still asleep in the bed when all this is happening. Like, I wake up to her in my face screaming at me. I have no idea what has even gone on here at the point in time.
We'll circle back to that. Did you cut up and burn her clothes?
I've never burnt any of her clothes. Have I cut some of them up? Yes.
How did you cut them up?
Just with a pair of scissors.
Why did you do that?
Because they were not really appropriate clothes to begin with when you're a married woman anyways.
Have you cheated on her?
Yes, I have.
Look, somebody's lying here, and I'm just too old to waste my time. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to try to figure out what the hell's going on here, because there's too much here that is more than just a misunderstanding. Anthony maintains he doesn't physically abuse Heather, but there's someone else in their family that he admits to beating next.
It got to the point, if my dog would even hear Anthony pulling in the driveway, he would run up on my lap, get under the cover, and start shaking.
I beat his ass. Yeah, knocked him out.
Anthony does have a big problem with what clothes I wear.
Like if you wear shorts where some of your ass hangs out, oh Lord, no. I've told her like before, she's gotten dressed, I'm go change.
He does not like me wearing skirts of any kind, dresses, boots, any type of heel, and contacts. Apparently he doesn't like me wearing contacts either.
Not gonna go out and make me look like a fool. Oh, your wife looks like a slut. That's a no-no.
Well, Heather claims her husband of 2 years, Anthony, has grabbed her, punched her, bit her, thrown her, burned holes in her clothes, and most recently tried to blind her. Anthony says, let me be clear, absolutely no way. He says that he has never put his hands on Heather in any way to harm her, says he wouldn't do that to her or any other woman. But when it comes to their dog, Anthony admits it's a different story.
I have a 9-pound Chihuahua. Anthony does not like that dog.
This dog on my brand new $800 couch I just bought, I beat his ass. Yeah, I him up.
It got to the point, if my dog would even hear Anthony pulling in the driveway, he would run up on my lap, get under the cover, and start shaking.
One day she wasn't home, I came home from work, and I went to take my son and he bit me for no reason. Yeah, so I knocked him out. You're a dog, I'm a human, like I'm your master. He bit me, I slapped the out of him. Slapped the out of that dog.
I came home and my dog was laying in his cage. His head was all bloody. His teeth were knocked out. His mouth was bloody. He had peed and pooped all over himself.
I'll take him out in the middle of the field and throw him there, and I'll leave his ass there. I don't give a I don't like that dog. I hate his ass. Bottom line.
What the hell are you thinking?
What do you mean, what am I thinking?
You're abusing? What's that dog weigh?
9 pounds.
You're abusing a defenseless animal?
This is not abusing, actually.
Did you knock the dog out?
I smacked the dog, yes. He bit me.
That's a crime. That is not only abuse, that's criminal.
Whenever
You said, I'll beat his ass, I'll him up, I knocked him out.
When I smacked him, yes, I hit him, and when I smacked him, he hit the door and he fell over. Yes, that was what I meant by when I knocked him out. I smacked him. He bit me. Yes, but if you can ask her, did you ask her what the vet said for his reasons for why he was hurt?
I can tell you.
Go ahead, tell us why.
The vet said, you need to do the math. Somebody traumatized your dog. Your dog did not get hurt outside. Your dog did not get trapped in a fence. Your dog did not get into a fight with another dog. Somebody did this to your dog.
I actually believe that the vet said that. He could have been climbing over a fence and that could have happened. And that was verbatim exactly what the vet said.
But we know
Verbatim.
it didn't happen because you just said on video that you abused the dog.
What, that I smacked him one time? I never said that I kicked him, that I've done anything like that. When a dog
You
comes
said
out,
I beat his ass, I him up, I slapped him, I knocked him out. I'll play it again. You want to hear it again?
You don't have to play it again. I guess for a better...
Well, one of us isn't hearing.
No, I just should have not used half the words that I used then, because have I really traumatized that dog? No, I smacked him for biting me. Is that wrong?
He hit the door.
Yes.
Is that wrong?
Yes.
If for a dog biting you,
Yes.
it's wrong to smack him?
Yeah, you're a coward and a bully if
thank
you're
you.
abusing a dog.
Okay.
Sorry. It's wrong.
That's fine.
Somebody didn't teach you that.
Okay.
Somebody didn't teach you that. Let me teach you that now. That's wrong.
Okay.
That's wrong. You can go to jail for that and should. You don't do that to an animal.
Okay.
And your job is to protect that dog. If you're around him and he's going to do that dog, then you need to get that dog out of there, or I'll call the ASPCA and get that dog out of there, because you've got to protect that dog.
I put my dog on the airplane and sent him home.
You can't do that. You're not going to part ways on that. You don't abuse an animal.
Understood.
Let's talk about Heather, because you say you have accusations about her as well. You say she yells, nags, and pushes your buttons,
Correct.
that she hits you,
Yes.
dresses slutty,
Yes.
puts private business on the social media, doesn't listen.
All the time.
She's unappreciative, unaffectionate, controlling, financially dependent, insensitive, gets drunk with her friends, snoops your phone, talks to her ex, smashes your computer, tried to break the TV, video gaming system, and unnecessarily calls the police.
It's all correct.
Okay, I got a list for you, I got a list for her. You can't say I went down there He jumped my ass and didn't say a word to her.
Understood.
Yeah, I'm saying it here.
Understood. That's all correct. We have had this numerous times.
What do you mean she doesn't listen?
She doesn't listen. I try to talk to her. Every time I try to talk to her, it's always, why are you 20 questioning me? Anything that I ask, I can ask her how her day's going. You know, how was your day at school? How, you know, what'd you guys do? Well, you went to lunch. Who'd you guys go to lunch with? Where'd you go? I'm always 20 questioning her. No matter what I do, I'm just setting her down. I'm interrogating her. I'm never trying to see what she's doing or just talk to my wife or have a conversation. Nagging, she always pushes, like, just pushes and nags about the simple things, like the little things that really shouldn't matter. You know, she'll ask me to do something. I'm like, okay, give me a minute, please. If it's not done in the first 10 seconds, she's huffing and puffing, pissed off because I won't get up in 10 seconds to go do what she wants me to do.
So is that true?
Some of it is true, yes.
So do you hit him?
No, I do not. I have scratched him. I have ripped his shirt off during a fight of him slamming me down on the ground and pulling my hair.
You dress slutty?
I do not.
Are you unappreciative and unaffectionate?
I could probably be more affectionate, but how do you be affectionate to somebody who treats you like this?
And she unnecessarily calls the police.
All the time.
I have called the police one time, and it was during a fight, and I have threatened to call the police on him, but I haven't. I've made him believe I had, yes, because I'm afraid for myself. I know he's involved with drugs, and I feel like it's just putting my career on the line, you know. If he has these people over at my house and something happens and he has drugs in my house, who's going to get in trouble for it? Who's going to get kicked out of school for it?
Are you doing drugs?
I'm not doing drugs.
Whose name was just in the paper for a drug paraphernalia charge?
For a bull that was found in my car, yes.
It wasn't yours.
It was not my bull.
It never is.
No, of course not. Never.
So could you stand a drug screen right now?
Could I stand one? Could I take one? Yes, I could take one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could you pass it?
more or less.
Could you pass a polygraph about being violent with her?
Probably yes, I probably could, but I'm not going to take one. I don't need to take a polygraph to know what the truth is here, Dr. Phil.
So could you stand a drug screen right now?
Could I stand one? Could I take one? Yes, I could take one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could you pass it?
more or less.
Because I got one backstage.
That's okay. I don't need to take a drug test to tell you what I do.
What do?
I smoke marijuana. That's it.
See a guy right there? Raise your hand, Jack. That's Jack Tremarco. He's former FBI agent. He's world-class polygraph expert. Could you pass a polygraph about being violent with her?
Yes, I probably could, but I'm not going to take one. I don't need to take a polygraph to know what the truth is here, Dr. Phil.
I'm just asking.
And I'm just saying,
So you could pass one, but you don't want to take one.
I don't need to take one now.
You're saying that he beats on you. He's bit you, dragged you by the hair across the road, hits you in the legs with his fist.
He has.
See this guy right here? This is Jack Tremarco. Raise your hand, Jack. World-class polygraph guy. Can you pass a polygraph about that?
could.
Will you take one?
I will.
Kind of looks bad for the home team when she will and you won't.
That's fine.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying as well.
Well, Anthony says he would never intentionally harm his wife, but in addition to his dog, he's also hurt one of his closest friends. Take a look at this.
My 21st birthday, we were out, and we got in a huge fight. One of my best friends from the Army stepped in, and he's like, you need to calm down. I told him, I said, don't tell me how to talk to my woman. And he drew back to hit me and, like, barely caught me, and I turned around in his front seat, just started going to town on my friend, just started beating him down, like, just pummeled him. It was just a time of, you know, a rage was going through my veins, and I was like, you know, if I get on a warpath, just don't get in my way, please, you know, because I'll beat you up, too.
Do you have a problem with rage?
Yeah, I do. With anger.
You know, the first thing I said when y'all came out here is my goal is to help a young couple.
Understood.
And I said, what you need to do is tell me the truth. I don't feel like I'm getting full candor from you, am I?
You're getting full candor from me, you're getting 100%.
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
Okay.
Have you done serious drugs in the past?
No.
Never has. And all you're doing now, you say you're smoking marijuana.
I haven't even smoked weed for a while.
And you have a rage problem.
Yes.
And when you have this rage, do you ever black out?
No. I've never blacked out from
You
rage.
know what you're doing.
I know exactly what I'm doing. I am 100% there.
Okay, let's take a break. Anthony says he's dealing with his rage the only way he knows how. We'll talk about that when we come back.
It's like we're a picture-perfect marriage, you know? I mean, on the outside, yeah, it might look like that. But on the inside, it's a broken and tore-down home, and it's just sad. It is hard being a husband. I feel like I'm not appreciated for the things I do, and that just hurts right there. You know, I have 2 cancer-driven parents. My mom has breast cancer, and my dad has lung cancer. And my dad went to the emergency room, and she wouldn't even come inside to go to see it. I feel like at times that it's hard because even though we've been married for 2 years, been together for 5, I don't feel like she really knows, like, the whole side of me.
Anthony says he wishes his wife would be more attentive and more caring in their relationship, especially since he returned home from Iraq. Take a look.
When I was overseas in Iraq, I was frontline. We were kicking indoors, finding high-value targets, caches, drugs, bad guys, IEDs. I did it so much it became a second nature that there was no more being scared. During my marriage with Heather, I'll get so mad if I don't walk out of that house, I'll probably destroy everything in the house. You know, I would just take it to the ground if I could. I don't really know how to control my anger. I've never really had to. I mean, anytime I've had anger in the past 4 years of my life, it was just, there was always one way of settling it. If it wasn't that here in the States, it was like, hey, let's just go out back and handle this real quick and get it over with, you know, and then call it a day. Sometimes I feel bad, you know, I degrade her, call her names. I know what that's like. I had to go through that 4 years of my life in the Army. They just tell you how much of a worthless piece of you are, no matter what you've done for your country. And it's awful, but I just feel like the only thing I know is like rough and tough love. You know, I don't know anything else other than that.
Well, when you say rough and tough love, what do you mean?
I guess really to even understand that, you just say something, if you're in the military, it's a brotherly love. It's a thing. It's like a communionship, you know, a teamship here. It's just tough love between each other. It's really the only thing I've known.
You say you do call her names. What do you call her?
Whore, a bitch, a slut. I've told her she's worthless. You know, I've told her that, you know, she makes me sick. I've told her everything like that before, of course.
You said how you feel?
Sometimes, yes, it is.
And you say you turn off her phone.
Yeah.
See, here's one of my problems. We work a lot with domestic violence and abuse. I've been involved in this profession for 35 years. I've been around it a lot. My wife is very active in domestic violence, has just launched one of the most comprehensive programs to fight domestic violence called the Aspire Initiative. And one thing we know for sure is that the number one tool of the abuser is isolation. One of the first things they do is like they'll turn off the phone, they'll shut down the computer, they'll control the money, they'll keep car keys, they'll try to get them away from family and friends. They tend to isolate them. So that's suspicious to me. You think that she's talking to people she shouldn't be talking to and dressing like she shouldn't be dressing?
That is correct. And being around the people she shouldn't be.
Right. At what point did you decide that you were entitled to tell her how to dress?
I never felt that I was entitled to tell her how to dress. I felt like maybe when she got married, she should have knew that she shouldn't be wearing some of the things that she did while she was single.
I don't know how I dress any different. I mean, I didn't know being married or single, you know, changes how you dress.
When you're single and you're wearing shorts that let half your ass cheek fall out, that's okay. But when you're
No,
married,
it's
you don't do
not.
that. You don't do that. You don't wear stuff like that when
I
you're
know you
married.
don't.
You don't wear Daisy Duke short skirts. You don't do that. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's just how I was raised. That's a no-go. It's a no-go.
Well, let me ask you something. You talk about how you were raised. Let's talk about that a little bit. Where's your
Okay.
father in the mix here?
What do you mean, where's my father?
Do you talk to him?
Yeah, my father's my best friend. It's my idol.
Yeah. Does he support your behavior?
I don't say that he supports my behavior, but he knows my life.
Like what?
Just going to Iraq, dealing with everything, dealing with her. A daily basis of what I've really had to deal with and what I've really had to go through. If you could pull somebody up here and he would talk on my defense and it would turn things around for you guys. It really would. You know, you guys might not want to believe me, and that's fine. But that's some person that could come up here and could turn things around completely and would show you that I'm not just the bad person here.
But you say dealing with me like I'm a burden to you. That's how you make me
Sometimes
feel.
I feel like you are a burden to me. Okay? Sometimes I do.
But your father wouldn't tell you that calling her an crybaby, horse, slut, hoe, disgusting, worthless bitch, and stupid, he wouldn't tell you that was a good idea.
No, he'll tell me, you know, for that I probably shouldn't do that, yeah. But he told me it's my life. He said, he can't make me do anything. You can only lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. That's what he tells me all the time.
Well, that's a whole lot different than
Well, he's
saying
just-
if you called him up here, he'd make you understand
Well-
that what I'm doing is okay.
No, I never said that it's not okay what you're doing. I'm just saying whenever he would come up here, he would make it to the point where it would see that it's not like such a one-way street here, I feel like. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. And I don't think that this is a one-way street, but I think there is a point where you cross a line. And when you cross a line, abuse is not just physical. Abuse is physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's verbal. You have all of these ways that you can be abusive. And you, sir, are abusive to your wife. If you are calling your wife these names, if you are dictating to her what she can and cannot do, that is abusive. Now, I'm willing to help you with your rage and your anger problems, and I realize that you have been deployed to Iraq, and as a complete aside to all of this, I personally thank you very much for your service there. I personally thank you for what you're doing, and I mean that sincerely. I've not been deployed to Iraq. I've talked to an awful lot of people that have, and I've talked to an awful lot of people that left one way and came back another way. I've talked to an awful lot of people that are suffering from PTSD. And based on everything that we've asked you, I've got to tell you that that would be a legitimate concern for me if I were seeing you as a patient instead of here discussing this. That would be on my short list of considerations for you, and it would not be something that I would make light of if I were you, because it would A, cause you to underestimate the problem, and B, not support him in getting the help he needs in that regard. Do you recognize that you need help?
All the time. I tell everybody, yes, I could use help for my rage, for my anger, for my anxiety, for PTSD, for everything.
And I want to help you with that. But at the risk of sounding cliche, you have to help me help you.
Understood.
You've got to understand that there are things you're doing that are unacceptable here. And this woman will not stay with you if you continue to treat her and interact with her the way that you do. Are you in love with her?
I do love her.
Do you want to stay with her?
I would like to see if we can make things work.
You don't know whether you want to stay with her or not.
I don't really know.
Heather needs to know if they should call it quits. Should they get divorced? I'll tell you what I think next. Well, what do you think the answer to that question is?
I can't only want it myself. He has to want it too.
I wish Heather would have met my wife, Robin, sooner. Robin, come up here for a minute if you would. Introduce you to my wife. One of the questions you had for me is, do I think you should stay with him or not?
Yes.
That's your question.
Yes.
And you're not living together right now.
We are.
You're with him every day right now.
Well, I mean, he's been staying at his parents, but we have this apartment together.
But he's been staying at his parents.
Yes. Well, for the past week or so.
Well, what do you think the answer to that question is?
I mean, I do want to try, but I think there has to be effort from both ends. I can't only want it myself. He has to want it too.
Where did you get that gun?
My parents. I have my carry conceal. I don't have it illegally or anything, but...
No, I'm not the gun police. I'm just asking you where you got the gun.
It's my dad's.
He gave it to you. And he's afraid to take it back because you might need it if he gets out of control.
Correct. He gave it to me for protection in general, not for protection against Anthony, but it is to the point he's afraid for me to have it, but he's afraid for me to not have it.
Well, I wish Heather would have met my wife, Robin, sooner. I know your dad gave you a gun, but my wife would have given you a lot of knowledge. And Robin, come up here for a minute if you would. Introduce you to my wife. Meet Heather. And meet this gentleman.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
All right, you can have my chair.
Okay.
Just don't get used to it.
Okay. Ooh, nice chair.
Yeah, you've devoted so much of your life to this as a women's advocate. What are you hearing here?
When Philip started talking about the Aspire Initiative, I've been listening to the whole show, and of course I've been thinking of the Aspire Initiative since you came out here, and I really feel like I created the program just for you, women like you, but I so wish that I could have shared this with you so long ago, because in this initiative, in this program, I have broken it down into 3 different programs. And one very important program is how to identify abuse, and if you're in an abusive relationship.
Right.
And one is how to prevent abuse. And then the third one is how to exit an abusive relationship safely and how to stay out safely.
For example, one of the things she has in the Aspire Initiative is the abuser's playbook.
And I think it's really relevant right here for you two.
Let's take a look at this. This is a compilation of videos. Take a look at this.
I was just joking.
It's not like I hit you or anything.
You deserved it. You got me upset.
I was having a bad day. It won't happen again.
It did not happen like that.
I didn't mean to hurt you.
You're just as bad as me.
It's your fault. If you would just do what I ask, I wouldn't have hit you.
And I think we've heard him say almost every one of those examples here today.
The bottom line is you are in an abusive relationship. My answer to you, should you stay with him at this point? Absolutely, unequivocally, 100% no. My answer to you, should you stay with him at this point? Absolutely, unequivocally, 100% no. Absolutely. It's not even a close call.
It's very hard to you, for you. It's very hard when you're in the middle of it to recognize it. So you can't really be upset with yourself, because when he's saying those things to you, it's easy sometimes to believe them. So
Well,
don't be upset with yourself. He says that to you all the time, and it's not hard to start thinking maybe he's right.
I try not to believe it because I know those things aren't true. You know, the names he calls me, I try not to let it get to me, but it upsets me. but I know in my head that those things aren't true. So I try to,
Okay.
you know.
Let me tell you what I recommend here, other than you sitting down and working through the Aspire initiative from start to beginning. And it's free, by the way. It's free for everybody in the world. It's in English. It's in Spanish. There's a section for tweens and teens and young couples like you and not young couples like us and others. It's there for a lot of different reasons. But you definitely are not safe in this relationship, in my opinion. You should not stay in this relationship right now.
Okay.
And that is good advice for you. I don't want you to get in trouble for doing something you don't want to do. I do think you have residual effects from being in Iraq. I'm not saying you were like a little kitten before you went, but I think you clearly have residual effects from being there. I think it changed who you are. And I'm a big fan of the VA and the military as well. They do the best they can with what they have. As a gift to you, I want to send you to the top PTSD specialist, in my opinion, in the world. Okay? And I want you to get evaluated because people don't understand a lot of PTSD happens along with traumatic brain injury, which can come from blows to the head or even sound concussions can change you neurologically. And if that's the case, a lot of this becomes involuntary. It takes a very specialized protocol, but that protocol is going to be made available to you immediately right now to help you deal with the rage, the anger, all of the things that I think you're dealing with that may or may not be PTSD, but certainly I think involve those two things as long with some neurological help. And I'm going to ask the two of you not to be together until we have a chance to get this done. And I'll get this done right away. I'll fly you out of here tomorrow or today, whatever. And I'm going to ask the two of you not to make a decision about whether you keep this marriage or whether you don't until we get this done. Because I think the world's going to look a whole lot different to both of you very, very soon. And if you don't like animals, then stay away from them. But you can tell that's a problem for me. You don't want to be doing that.
Understood.
I will get you this help right away. Will you take it?
Yes.
I mean, seriously commit to it and take it.
100%.
I'm going to hold you to that, okay? Now, just for those of you, I want everybody to know the Aspire initiative that we talked about, we didn't plan on talking about this, but we are, can be found at Robbins Foundation website, which is www.whengeorgiasmiled.org. You can also find it on drphil.com. It's a real easy download, and again, it's free, and it's for everybody, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, part of the Aspire initiative that Robin is really proud of is a new app for your smartphone. It can be like an Android or an iPhone, either one, and it is called the Aspire. It is the first of its kind, and it is a major development in domestic violence safety.
The Aspire News app is disguised as an everyday app, so if your abuser takes your phone, it won't stick out. It has a function I call the go button that you can activate the moment you are in danger. Once activated, it will send a pre-typed or pre-recorded audio message to multiple trusted, pre-selected contacts or even 911 saying that you are in trouble. Once the go button is activated, your phone will also start recording audio of everything that is going on in the room. So now you have actual audio evidence of threats or abuse. Be sure to leave on your phone's location service because many of the functions in this app will need it, including locating the nearest shelters, and there are also articles on domestic violence and other educational tools readily available for you at all times. Also included is a link to the Aspire Initiative curriculum.
Listen, Robin and I are dedicated to standing up and helping anyone who has or is being abused, and we'll continue to make it a mission for both of us. So know that the Aspire Initiative is free. You can get it at www.whengeorgiasmiled.org, right? It's .org, right? And you can also go to Dr. Phil to find a link to that so you can get them both. It is really, really worth doing. And again, they're free and they're available in English and Spanish. I want to thank my guest today and encourage any victims of domestic violence to check out the Aspire Initiative and the Aspire News app immediately. Thanks so much.
Thank you.